Chapter 10 New Quest. Quinn stared long and hard at the message and reread it multiple times. It couldn't be. Did I get express from reading that fantasy book? Quinn immediately had to test it out. After reading several different books about abilities, not one had given him express, but for some reason this book did. Quinn then immediately picked up another fantasy story, one about dragons, this time titled, Reincarnated into a Human. He did the same as before and skimmed through most of it but made sure to read the crucial parts. Then when he closed the book there was no reaction. This of course was expected. Then Quinn wanted to test another thing out. He picked up another book that was also about vampires and did the same. When he closed the book though the same thing happened. The system had no reaction at all. In the end, Quinn theorized that after reading all the books, he had gained so much knowledge about abilities that the system had rewarded him for it. That maybe the system had just given a delayed message. He couldn't believe that the book about vampires was somehow related to his system. Well, he didn't want to believe it. When Quinn finished checking things out at the library, he noticed that Vorden had disappeared from the table and was no longer in the library. He must have gotten bored and gone somewhere else. Quinn looked outside the window and noticed the sun was starting to set. He had been in the library for a total of 6 hours so far and the time had gone flying by. Then when Quinn was just about to leave, he received another message from the system. Daily quest has been completed. Avoid direct sunlight for 8 hours. 5 Express has been awarded. 2100 EXP. Quinn had finally completed his second daily quest. The ride from school had taken them around 2 hours and with the time spent indoors and in the library, Quinn was able to complete the task with ease. Each time Quinn received an announcement, he got a satisfying feeling seeing the number go up closer to 100. He couldn't wait to see what would happen once he had reached the goal. His best guess would be a level up. After all, the system even stated that he couldn't use his shop feature until he was at least a level 10. The only thing Quinn wished for at the moment was a quicker way to level up. With just the 2 daily quests a day it would take days until Quinn reached level 2. Right now though there wasn't much he could do but go by his everyday life as normal. As Quinn left the library, he decided to head to the battle arena. There was a theory that he wanted to test out. But as he was walking through the school hallway, he could see a kid being pushed up against the wall by another student. The boy on the wall looked like he had already been hit a few times and had markings on his face. So it started already, Quinn thought. Quinn managed to catch a glimpse of the boy's wristwatch and saw that the number on it indicated that it was a 1.2 power level. Quinn was quite surprised at this as the person doing the bullying was quite weak himself, which was a rare occurrence. The only people he would be able to bully were people who had a power level of 1 like Quinn or Peter. That's when Quinn suddenly realized who was up against the wall. It was in fact Peter. Quinn didn't recognize him at first because his face was turned the other way. Quinn was debating with himself whether or not to get involved in the first place. He hated bullies more than anything. They had ruined his school life and it seemed like soon he would be a target as well. Of course, Quinn also wanted to test out his current strength and he had found the perfect guinea pig. The student in front of him was only at a power level of 1.2, so there was a high chance he could win. The student lifted his fist again to give Peter another punch. "You think you can just bump into me like that and say sorry?" he shouted as he swung his fist. Then as Quinn was walking past, he pretended to fall over and bumped into the student, causing him to fall off balance and miss. "Quinn," Peter said as he looked up. "What the hell was that for?" the student said as he looked at who had just pushed into him. The student then immediately looked at Quinn's watch and suddenly the confidence in him grew. "What the hell is a level 1 piece of rubbish like you doing? I was waiting to see how long it would take for someone like you to appear. It seems like I lost a bet with myself. I thought it would at least take a couple of days. And what are you going to do about it?" Peter was starting to feel slightly worried about Quinn. He knew at the test site that Quinn had no abilities while the student he was facing did. Peter thought they might stand a chance if the two of them fought together, but Peter, in the end, was too afraid. He had been hurt his whole life and didn't want to be hurt anymore. This was just how the current world worked. The people at the top with the strongest powers bullied the weaker ones, and in turn, they bullied the even weaker ones. It was the first time the student had ever met someone weaker than him, and suddenly all the pain he had experienced, he wanted someone else to feel it too. That way he didn't feel like he was at the bottom of the food chain. Quinn then noticed that the student had both of his hands held behind his back as if he was preparing something, and the next thing that happened confirmed his thoughts. An ability has been detected. Initiating battle mode. New quest has been given. First fight, power level 1.2. Win the fight to gain 50 EXP. Suddenly, Quinn had a huge grin on his face. This was how he was going to level up faster.